Well, this is streaming. Meeting is being live streamed. Got it, got it, got it. So now I think we're good to go. Just waiting for the broadcast to demonstrate itself on YouTube. It's right at 11:30, so there we are. We're good. All right, let me just make sure we get our second co-host on, and then we will make co-host. All right, good. Beautiful. All right, all right, all right. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm really excited about today. I'm always excited about our weekly Zooms, but I'm real excited today because I get to hear others talk, and I'd much rather listen than share. I love to share because we love what we do, and it's my responsibility to share some things. I'm going to give you some updates, but then we want to get right into our interview with Michael Dew, our August Agent of the Month, which I'm very proud and honored that he selected DAC to invest his time into. And we're just so thankful to have him here with us today. And he was nominated by several. It was a unanimous decision by the corporate team. Everyone from agent support to the client intake team all have very fond feelings toward Michael. And so we're just honored to have him here today. Before I get into that, a couple updates. As you know, number one, our incentive, our engaged incentive is still live in August, meaning anyone you recruited in July or August, whether you're engaged or not, we're treating you as engaged on those personally enrolled agents. So if you're not qualified as engaged today, well, hey, you are on anyone new you recruit in August. We are ending it in August. So don't think we're going to extend it into September. We've already decided we are not. This is a summer, July and August push. So you want to get yourself qualified. You want to get yourself amped up by getting a new client. You want to get engaged by getting a new client every 60 days, or at least a renewal. So get amped, stay amped is what you want to get done. But in the meantime, anyone you recruit in the month of July or August, you're automatically engaged on, meaning you get automatically that enroller matching income. Keep in mind, our goal, folks, is to give you a percentage of the income of the people you personally enroll so that you have an incentive to help them earn higher incomes. Not just them, but you can graduate by getting clients yourself up a ladder and earn overrides where you can earn 10%, 15%, 20%, 25, 30, 40, even 50% of your team's income. You can earn all of their incomes. You can earn 50% of all their incomes by reaching our highest ranks. But hey, even once you have one client, you're already getting a nice override match on anyone in your team's income. So get your clients. We believe it's a genius compensation plan. It allows our performers to get paid significantly well, and it's gamification. It allows us to take our motto, which is simplify to multiply and gamify. So simplify, gamify, and multiply. And we do all three of those. So take advantage of that incentive that is live right now. If you're brand new to DAC, welcome to the family. You're going to hear us say over and over what we believe, which is serving those business owners. They are the front line of capitalism. They are the rock stars. They're the ones who endure right now where the government's giving a bunch of free money away, unemployment. A lot of people are staying home. It's hard for that business owner to hire people to grow their business. It's a tough time, but we're there. We're the front line for the front line. We're like the doctors out there in the hospital, right? That front line of capitalism are those business owners, and they're trying to do the right thing, and they need working capital to grow their business, to take advantage of growth opportunities. And that's where you come in with Bank Breezy. That's where you come in with DAC. So keep it up. July was a record month. August, we want to beat July, right? Let's beat July. You should be breaking records every month too. Great time to build a team. Great time to help clients. Great time to be DAC. FAQ document. We've recategorized it. We had it just a whole list. Now we've got it by product line. That should be going live today. I'm just going to be reviewing it. Sharon and Morgan have been composing that, modifying it somewhat. So I'm just going to look at it later today, and that should be going live today. So that'll be nice. It'll be helpful for everybody to get their frequently asked questions. And if we're getting others, we'll add to it. But that's it for today. That's all I wanted to talk about today, because today's highlight is our pro, Michael Dew. It's our pleasure to have Michael with us today. And I'm glad many of you are here today. Hopefully you've thought of some questions for him. If he were your enroller, what would you ask him? What would you call him and talk about tonight if he were your enroller? Write that down right now. And if he doesn't touch on it, we want to take questions at the end. But what I want to do is I want to first bring him on so you can see who Mike. Most of you know who Michael is, but I want to add a pin. Okay, Michael, you with me on there, buddy? You can see me. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you could, Michael.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, buddy.
Okay,
Loud and clear.
I'm unmuted.
All right. Well, you look great. You're doing great.
Thank you.
We're feeling great to have you part of DAC. I just want to say before you grab the microphone and share a couple things, I just want to say that, I remember our first conversation was probably over a year ago when we talked originally, and there were some ideas about what we were doing. It was before Bank Breezy. And you were talking about what you might be able to do with DAC and your experience. You had a tremendous background. And I remember it just wasn't the right time. I think you gave it a try for a little bit, so you'll share that story. But I was so pleased when Ellen said, hey, Mike Dew is getting after it. He likes this new Bank Breezy product. He likes the updated compensation plan. He's getting after it. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Because I remember how impressed I was from that original phone call. And so to see what you've done since the modifications to the pay plan and modifications to Bank Breezy has just been tremendous. And I just want to say to everyone who's watching, who's never had an opportunity to talk to you privately, or maybe it's first time here and you haven't seen Michael's comments on our Zooms in the past, Michael's a pro. He operates with integrity. Not only does he operate with integrity, he's gracious. He understands business has ups and downs, and he's very gracious with the internal team when there's mistakes being made or fumbles, balls being fumbled. He's not one to grab you by the helmet and shame you. He's one to come alongside and encourage you and pat you on the backside and say, let's go. And that exemplifies what DAC is all about. And I'm just so thankful to have him with us. So, Michael, why don't you say hello to everybody as you are receiving the DAC Agent of the Month award for August.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very proud to be here. This is a great company, and there have been some very talented agents of the month before and there will be some very talented agents of the month after. But I'm very proud to be chosen, and we're just really getting started. I'm happy to share my story and some information and work together with everyone to move this company forward. Beautiful.
Why don't you start by and thank you for that, by the way. Why don't you start by just sharing a little bit about your background, why you got into, how you take us on some time, a little about your family, a little about yourself up to this point, and then why you chose DAC.
Well, I grew up in a family business. My father and I owned a pretty substantial trucking operation, and I grew up in that business. The business grew. We were doing over 35 million annualized sales back in the 80s. We had a fleet of several hundred trucks, and we were a nationwide concern. I focused on sales, and then as the business grew and my father wanted to retire, I became into business management and ultimately owned the company. But it's very interesting in what we teach here that the biggest problem that we had was capital funding. The trucking business is a very capital intensive business. We carried a lot of receivables. Businesses didn't always pay as quickly as we'd like, but the drivers and the needed to be paid weekly, as well did the suppliers, and fuel and maintenance and everything. Very, very capital intensive business. And we ultimately closed that business because we couldn't get the bank funding that we needed. So if anybody's listening, there are businesses out there that need what we have. But after that chapter closed, I moved into the mortgage business, which is a great business until we hit the wall back in the bubble back in the early 2000s. And but along the way, I had also gotten into network marketing. So I'd worked in the mortgage business about 10 years, but I joined some network marketing companies, had a little bit of success. And then, but most recently, I had joined a company prior to David Allen Capital, in which I had grown in the industry, and I achieved the diamond level in a nutrition company. That was a good company, still going today, no complaints. I'm not active in that business because I'm here, but that company had ran into a product problem, and customers went away, distributors went away, and for many, the business went away. But that really led me to here. I liked the industry, and but I also liked my finance background in the mortgage business. So I was looking for something that might be finance related, and I really didn't know this company, but I found some of these type businesses in the industry. But upon finding David Allen Capital and the structure that we have of building a team, it just blended with my background really, really well. I did jump in about a year ago and brought some warm market agents on board and recruited some people, and that grew pretty quickly. But the business wasn't moving as fast as we wanted, and my wife Barb and I do have another active business which is not related to this at all. So I kind of focused on that until Bank Brizzy. Like you said, I'm back, and I'm ready to jump into what I see there when you're ready for me to do that. That's kind of my background. I've been around, been kicked around, done some things, had some success, and learned the financing business and the importance of business capital.
Well, just go back a minute to your trucking business for a minute. When you were with that company, you said you were doing 35 million, as high as 35 million a year, right? It's almost
in the 80s.
In the 80s. So that's almost 3 million a month in the 80s, which is probably more like 4 to 5 million now, right? And I tell you what, and trucking has picked up because there's a lot more online shopping, a lot more. Were you doing, what type of trucking were you guys in?
We had two companies, one by the name of Dewline, a namesake, and the other one by the name of Tri-State. Dewline owned a fleet of trucks. Tri-State was a brokerage.
Okay.
The brokerage, we brokered loads of frozen seafood throughout the country. We had a lot of customers up in New England and New Bedford and Boston and Gloucester. But we didn't own those trucks. We didn't own the refrigerated trucks. We just brokered the loads. But the other company, we did own the trucks. We had a fleet of trucks, a fleet of vans, and we hauled containers. And when I say containers, they're things like Clorox bottles, Pepsi cans, beer cans, very lightweight, bulky freight, paper products, toilet paper, paper towels, that kind of thing.
And so a company of that size, it's hard to get a company. Not many companies ever reach that size, right? And so you've grown it, and it shows for everybody watching who's never been a business owner that you can reach that level of success and things being going great and still have rough roads ahead. And so you guys started going through some working capital issues, you're saying. And I just want to touch on that. I did not know that about your background. And so as you see what we're doing, I'm sure it has a special place in your heart for those business owners with that same struggle.
It really does, because ultimately, when I look back, we went out of business because we couldn't get the capital, the funding that we needed. The margins in trucking is very slim. And my father and I went through a buyout. He retired and I was buying him out. And we had to carry the receivables, pay the drivers, do maintenance. And we just outgrew the bank that we had. And our margins were so slim that we couldn't go to a national bank, really, like a Bank of America or a Chase. We were in the middle. We were too big to be small and too small to be big. And we just ran out of working capital. That's the bottom line. And had this type of business existed, we'd have been knocking on David Allen Capital's door trying to get funding. We did some receivable factoring for those that know what that is, but this would have been perfect for us back in the day. We would have been too big for Bank Breezy, but on the David Allen Capital side, we'd have been in the upper limits looking for that $2 million funding probably.
Right. And, it's interesting. We received a call yesterday, a friend of mine who's in the trucking business now. He's a middleman in scrap metal. But they're doing, millions of dollars of scrap metal, and they're shipping it overseas. And he's got the same problem. Their lines of credits were just pulled. So he's like, now I can't buy all this stuff with a line of credit. because it takes me a week to get paid or 10 days to get paid. So now I got to have the money to buy the scraps, to sell the scraps as the middleman. It's a tough time when the lines of credit. So they're looking at, how they can use the same situation you're in. And without a DAC, he can't make the purchases. It doesn't exist.
Right.
So I'm glad you shared that. I did not know that was part of your background, but anytime we have someone share a business story where working capital that, we joke about it, call it the working capital disease and stuff. But the reality is it is the number one thing that kills a driven entrepreneur. I mean, your business was in business how many years?
35 years.
Yeah.
And my father started it back in 1958. Before I was born, and I grew up in it, and we just grew and grew and grew and grew, and we ran out of funding. It's that simple.
Yeah, people don't believe that's possible. I had a juice company that, as we grew and sold more and more bottles of juice, it made it harder to exist. It didn't make it easier. Sales doesn't always help because you got to fund the future too. Well, anyway, enough of that. So you said your wife and you, Barb, have another business. Is that the financial business?
No, it isn't. It's we distribute. We have a direct contract with a PBM, pharmacy benefit manager, and we distribute, believe it or not, discount drug prescription cards,
yep.
Which I know one is offered through David Allen Capital, mm-hmm. But we are a very, very, very small fish in a big pond.
Right.
That business. GoodRx has the market. Everybody's heard of GoodRx, yeah. And it's a diminishing business for us, and that's why I'm so now focused on what we're doing here, because looking for a business that can replace what we had. We were very successful in that business, but it's just something that's going by the wayside because of the large players in the industry. GoodRx, number one.
Well, I'm not glad that that's going by the wayside. I mean, you've been building businesses. One of the great things about what we're doing is we're focused on the distribution, right? And you see that, we've thrown PPP loans and we've had other services. And what's the future? Bank Breezy was a created product ourselves, but what is the future 10 years from now? It may be mortgages. It may be car loans. It may, we are creating a distribution team in the financial service arena, as you know. So what we build here, team, just so you know, what we're building here is for whatever we want to put in the pipeline, just like Amazon. I just bought a lawn furniture set off Amazon, not a book, a lawn furniture set, weighed 800-pound gazebo. So anyway, that's what we're building. So you come to find DAC and you get in, and Bank Breezy, something about Bank Breezy lit your fire again. Why don't you tell us what that conversation was like with Ellen or whoever that was with that got you going on Bank Breezy again?
Yeah, well, what I see there, I'd like everything about this company, but prior to Bank Breezy, and I probably would have ended up back here taking a look again. But when that came on board and you did the announcement, I was traveling and I was told to take a look at the presentation. And when I did, I'm like, holy cow, we can fund somebody today and get paid tomorrow. Agents are going to be interested in this. And that's what really sparked my interest. And the way, when you're ready for me to get into how I'm building the business, I'll do that. But
yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, take it.
Well, what happened was, I saw that, and I mentioned to some other agents that I have on board, and I've got an incredible team that's growing. One of the best recruiters I've ever seen in the industry is on my front line, and many have heard his name, Eric Johnson. And he said, Mike, the agents are going to love this. And I took a really, really closer look at it. And what I saw was there have been people that have been Agent of the Month that have great skills in how they're getting loans or fundings. And I admire that totally. But I saw a bigger picture. And when I saw a growing agent base, I just said, I need to get the DAC 4. I mean, I have to stay ahead of the team. And while I want to get personal fundings, I need to show the team that I can get the DAC 4 I can get to that level so that they can recognize that they can do it. And while I see the individual production being very important, I've seen you say so many times on these Zooms that what we really have is a huge business to build with agents and earn the residuals and mentor them. And that's where I see the growth. And then I've also heard you say, which I'm really excited about, that in this team that we build, there's going to be other things that are plug into what we're doing. So while I see the individual production being important because cash flow is important, I just really see the desire to build a large and growing team. And there's some very talented people that aren't even here yet that, we have the opportunity to bring really talented people on board here. It's unlike any program I've seen. Like I said, I did reach the diamond level in a nutritional company, and I thought I was kind of special at that moment, but this has way more potential than anything I've ever seen. I really mean that.
No, I appreciate that. And the fact that you, let's talk about that diamond rank. And I don't even know the name of the company, but I'm assuming that's a pretty high rank, which means you had to grow a team. You had a personal production and team production, and you had a little change in the product, which caused some concerns, you said, and it makes it harder to move. But duplicating a team, training a team, growing a team is probably something you value at a high level because you realize how hard it is to grow a team if everyone's doing their own thing.
It is. And what we're doing here, and I think it was actually on the Monday Zoom, and it really struck home. It really made a point with me in that in growing this team, you were saying, bring people on board, up front, we give them the training they need right away. It's simple. It's only a few hours. But if they can't make that commitment to take that step and learn what we're doing, we have to move on. I mean, we can't chase these people that won't stand up, that want what we have. And while it doesn't cost anyone anything to come on board here, they do have to step forward and say, I want to know what you're doing. And then when they hear these stories about if they do it, they get a funding, they get paid the next day. Well, a lot of excitement's created, but they have to want to do it. And David Allen Capital allows us to cast a big net, bring a lot of people on, sift through that team, and focus on the ones that are working.
And, many of them, Mike, are like you, right? You got started, you gave it a run, and then had other things that distracted you, and you came back. And some of them will come back too in the future.
They will. And I'm reaching down into the team, letting them know what's happening. A few people have resurfaced, and a lot of people are interested. I just don't know of any other model like this one. I mean, where you can come on board with no cost, but you can literally make $120,000 commission here. And most of the MLM companies, people don't make that in a year. And I'm not saying that I'm going to make $120,000 commission or anybody else's, but the potential's there. And with the internet and the way people find you today, and it's just very real as the income potential. I mean, we can hit new heights that I don't think anybody hardly realizes. I mean, Ellen is, as far as I know, the top achieving agent so far, and she's only barely halfway through the compensation plan, if that. So we're really just getting started as a company and as a team. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and I'm glad you feel the way you feel. I echo your thoughts. When we put the pay plan together about the daily pay, it was for what you just said. If you can imagine, guys, our goal is, many of you are brand new today. Our goal, or you're going to watch this recording when you're brand new, our goal is to get you in profit week one. That's our goal. It may not happen, but that's our goal. And it's certainly not to get you at where you're at a loss after week one, which is pretty much every other company. You're at a loss until you produce. Here, you're at least even until you produce, and then you're profitable. But like Michael said, he's focused on the team. Half of our compensation is paid out to the upline. So not always, sometimes it's less depending upon if you're amping up and what rate you're reaching and all that. But we've designed it where we pay out 50% to the team for the leadership of it, which means if you're focused on building a team, you can capture that half, but yet you do have to get, Michael, I'm sure DAC 4 is great. DAC 4 amped up is greater. So as much as you're not focused on getting personal clients, you're focused on building your team, you're also focused on staying amped, I'm sure.
Yeah, there definitely. And I'm really approaching it with what I would call a blended approach. I mean, I've reached in the warm market. I've done some online things. There's another aspect of this business that is really my strong suit that I haven't even done yet. And in talking about that other business that Barb and I have about the distribution of the drug prescription cards, we have spent 10 years traveling this country, walking in people's doors, primarily medical offices and pharmacies, but I'm very experienced at walking in, doing cold calling, presenting what I have. And because of COVID, we really haven't done that yet. And Barb and I both plan to work together and not only locally visiting local businesses, but we'll travel to other areas. You get to travel and go where you want and write it off, so you can't beat that. But we will distribute drop cards, call on businesses. I don't know. The future is wide open, and we're just barely scratching the surface. And anyone that's not afraid of some people are good on the phone, some people are good online, some people are good talking to other people, but it's easy to walk into a business owner and say, you don't have to know all the details of what we do. It's just, if you need working capital, we have something you might want to take a look at, and leave the drop card, let them visit your website and get back to you if they have questions. It's not hard. It just takes a willingness to want to do it.
And you just summed up the simplicity of it right there. We say simplify, gamify, and multiply. And not only what you say, the way you say it, it's just common sense, simple. It's really good. I love it. I can see why you're having the success you are, because you see the value and you share the value. So your blended approach, there's some people on here today that aren't DAC 4 yet. You went out and got DAC 4 right away. You're building a team who are getting clients and getting some fast start bonuses and all that. So can you give your daily method of operation in your blended approach, or your weekly method? What percentage? Some people have 2 hours a week. Some people have 20 hours a week, some 40. What percentage of the time are you saying your client acquisition focus, team recruiting, team coaching?
I'd say I'm spending at least half of my day in what we're doing. And, I started yesterday something new, taking your lead. I started reaching out. Since I'm not out on the street as much as I'd like to be, I am contacting businesses by email. But an example, a local directory that I have, it's called Images, and I'm using the subject line and writing to the businesses in there that, hey, I saw your ad in Images, thinking that they're going to open the email because they know they've placed that ad and someone's responding to it. So I spent a couple of hours of my day yesterday doing that. So I plan to do more of that in the future. Working with agents kind of takes its own pace. I address them or work with them when they reach out to me. And new ones that are coming on board, I'm following up on what our leader, Ellen, is doing. Anyone on Ellen's team knows this. I mean, she reaches out to new recruits. And I'm following up on what she's doing to let them know that I'm here too. So I'm not directly answering your question, but I'm kind of taking, 5 or 6 hours a day working on what needs attention the most, whether it be prospecting online. I'm doing some online stuff. I'm trying to expand into social media. And I know the previous agent of the month is doing an excellent job on that. And there's someone else out there that's doing a great job bringing in clients online, and I'm trying to learn a little more about that. So it's a blended approach, and I kind of focus on where I need to go on what's on my plate for that day. Sorry, I'm not more direct, but
No. That's the way this is, right? It's some people don't have a recipe that's okay, 2 hours of this And then an hour of this, I'm putting my time in and I'm focused on all three. It's like balancing plates. So if this one starts to wobble and you need to focus on personal clients, you do. But if you got agents taking all your attention right now and they're new agents doing the right thing and you're onboarding them, you're gonna keep there and get those plates spinning and let your personal customer production wobble a little bit and come back to it later. So that's why we asked the question, because everyone's got different strategies. Charisse last month said, I work at Wednesday and Friday. There's only 2 days I work DAC because Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, I'm running my other businesses. And that was her recipe. And Wednesday was getting clients, and Friday was just team building. And she had to use that partition because she's running 3 or 4 businesses, right? And so everyone's different. And that's why I like to ask. But I think you did answer the question. You're not setting down customer acquisition. You're challenging and trying new ways, always. And you're getting clients. And so you're amped up and you're focused on staying amped up and getting your team amped up, obviously. So and I love what you said about you're taking a page out of Ellen's book. Some people are pretty new here. Can you give an example of what that means to reach out to a new client or new agent?
Sure. One of the most impressive things, if I were not on Ellen's team and she wasn't doing what she was doing, I would be doing some of the things she is doing. When someone new comes on board, she reaches out to them and provides them with getting started information, the important things about the email that David Allen Capital sends out, her texting system and, tying in, and they all know her name and often more than they know my name. And she hears from a lot of agents that are down in the organization. And while that's great, she needs support from us that are under her to help support that team. And, so I follow up with what Ellen's doing, making an agent know who I am, how I can help, how they can reach me. And then we see if they respond, if they want to tie into what we're doing, because if they don't, chasing them really doesn't get the business moving forward. Because this is an opportunity that people can join without a cost. A lot of people will just throw their hat in and say, I'll give it a try, but they have to step forward. So, I'm taking Ellen's lead. She has a Monday meeting. The people that show up for that, that are serious, and just try to support the beginnings of what she starts and drive it down into the organization. She and I were chatting yesterday, and she said, Mike, the best people are going to show up 5 or 6 levels below you. And that's true. And so you got to give attention to those that surface.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because so basically it's build a relationship with the brand new people, not just the people you personally enroll, but even people down through your team. And a lot of these are coming in off ads, right? One thing about DAC, which is very attractive, it is the free with the big upfront commission. So recruiting through ads, I've never seen something so easy to recruit a team in ads. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that, and I'm doing that. But I at least have to stand up and say I worked warm market too, and the top recruiter that I have on my team, we've known each other for 7 or 8 years. So I call that warm market, and he came on board and he's building a huge team. So that came with me, but I am doing some ads, but I don't just let them come in and not get attention. I let them know I'm here, how I can help, what we're doing. I let them know I'm agent of the month, so that they know they've landed at a spot that might be able to support them.
Yeah. So when there's some people who have, because you hear me sharing all the time, hey, give them an assignment. If they don't do the assignment, they're not the right one. And I'm focusing on when you're having multiple people coming in, even your warm market too. But some people are going, wow, that you do that to your aunt or you do that to your uncle. And no, we're talking about, obviously you would eventually, if your aunt or uncle doesn't want to run, there's no reason to run and try to drag. So you do give assignments and you let them tell you where their level of interest is. But we're talking about for the people that are recruiting 7 or 8 people in a week or 7 or 8 people in a month through an ad. And, those people may sign up, give it a look and be gone, or sign up, give it a look and be superstars. And you don't know until you give them an assignment. So it sounds like you're reaching out, building the relationship, plugging them in to get started, having them get on all the stuff and kind of seeing how they respond.
Yeah, I also have a Facebook group running side by side with David Allen Capital's group. And while the Facebook agent team through David Allen Capital is broad-based and everybody's in, the people that I bring on board and the team below me, I'm trying to do a more localized, more personalized Facebook group there. And that's just getting off the ground. But I try to get everyone to join forces there too. Some people don't do Facebook and some do. So it's just something else I'm doing.
It's interesting you say that, because Monday's Leadership Zoom is about, our leadership locker room is about how each and every one of us, even if it's only 5 people in our team, can become the leader of that communication to our team. And one of the things is a individual Facebook group for your private team. So congratulations on that. And folks, you heard him mention Ellen's got her own text group, just like DAC's got a text group. Ellen uses the same software. She waited till her group got to a certain size, and then it made sense to pay that monthly fee. But you can do group text without a text group, just add people to it manually if you have to up front. You don't have to pay a software. You can create an email broadcast list yourself, and it's just a blind copy to 20 of your people in your team if you want to give an update or a motivational message, or send a link to an announcement and send it out to 20 people. You don't have to go buy a MailChimp software or something like that. But over time, you'll want to, because it makes sense. But so you're reaching out to the team, you're getting to know the team. What is so you had a goal to get to DAC 4 to show your team. We say get amped, stay amped, get DAC 4, get amped, stay amped, earn DAC 4, then help your team do the same. And you did that to be an example, but it also positioned you pretty good in the pay plan, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. The pay plan is, I can't say enough about it, because, and I'm not going to divert by what we're doing, but as you go through it, you learn it. And I didn't really understand the tier 2 5% override, but now at DAC 4 I've got that. And then when I reach Ellen's level, I'll understand that better. So you don't have to understand everything about it to get started, but as you grow through it, you'll understand it. And then we even get the residuals from our partner Longevity, and I found that to be pretty surprising as well too.
Yeah,
it's just
everything we mark in DAC gets paid out on the 15th of the month somehow on your team. Yeah. So when you talk about the pay plan, you said something about a month ago when something clicked in you about the amped up, the double on double, and the overrides. Why don't you share your heart about our pay plan a little bit? You don't have to get into details, but what do you?
Well, what I saw when Bank Breezy came aboard, and I watched the training again, and I found myself going back. I've watched the training 2 or 3 times, and I pick up something new every time I watch it. And then you did the 3rd compensation plan video, and each time I go back, my eyes get wider and wider, because I'm like, holy cow. And then I got a few of my own commissions. I had a $25,000 funding, and I was amped up, and I'm like, wow, that's quite a payday. And I had a frontline agent have a $20,000 funding. He was amped up. I was amped up. I had over a $600 matching commission on a frontline agent. And then I had a couple of fundings in one day, and it was like a flower. I just started seeing it and it opening up, and I've found myself going back to review it a couple of times. But when you see that you can earn what you can initially 3%, and then you get amped up and that automatically goes to 6%, and then it's more than that when you're DAC 2 and you're DAC 4. I mean, I don't know where else you can go and do it, and I would gladly speak more about it, but it's just eye-opening to realize that you can earn commissions like that. The other company that I was in, the maximum commission the maximum commission that I could earn in enrolling someone was $400. And they had to spend $1,600 for me to earn $400. And I knew they weren't going to use all the stuff they were buying. And I felt guilty telling them, well, that's the way to do it. If you want to reach the top of the structure here, that's your fastest way to do it. And I never felt comfortable doing that. Here, you don't have to do that, but your commissions are substantial in helping other agents be successful and getting your own clients. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but I just can't, I don't know where else you can find this type of pay plan, quite honestly.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying about it. And we believe what you believe what we believe. And, to be able to make great commissions is okay, as long as we're not making it on the backs of someone else's investment. And once you know of alternative ways, it's hard. I had a call just today on my text from a person who was in my original company and was our top producer. And then he went on to be Monavi's top producer and then Zango's top producer. And he just reached out to me and said, I just looked at your pay plan. I just looked at your product. Wow, we need to talk. And this is a person who's made several $1 million in our industry. And it's making that type of noise. And it's only a matter of time before a lot of people are going to be in your teams, folks. A lot of you out there, people in our industry, are going to come to DAC through you. So don't think it's just me talking to them or Michael, our agent of the month, talking to them. You can talk to people in our industry and say, have you heard of DAC? You got to take a look at this. Michael, why don't you give an example of how you might approach someone if you're recruiting them, someone in your warm market you may recruit. You mind sharing what you might say? I love how you said before, we offer working capital. I just want you to know.
To give an example of a warm market contact, I recently enrolled a lady who is a neighbor, but for business reasons for her husband's business, they've moved and they're in Albuquerque, or they're not in Albuquerque, but they're in New Mexico. But she was in the other business with me as well as being a neighbor. So that's as warm as it gets. And we were talking and she said, well, what are you doing now? And I said, well, I'm working in the finance business, but it's an MLM. There's an MLM component. And I was fortunate with her. Her name's Kate. I think she's on here. She said, tell me more about it. I want to know more about it. If you're doing it, I might want to do it. So we really got into the conversation. I said, well, we help businesses get working capital. And, but she said, well, what does it cost? And I said, well, it doesn't cost anything. And there was just silence on the other end of the phone. And I said, yeah, really, you don't have to buy anything. I'll send you a link. You can watch an overview by our CEO, David Rutz, and you'll know right away if you have interest in it. And so she said, and I said, so watch that and then we'll talk about it. And she did. We sent it. She watched it. She said, wow. She said, I am interested in that. And not just her, others are doing the same thing. And she said, I don't have to spend anything. And she said, I have a real passion for helping other businesses. She said, in our other business, we had to spend and buy products and we like them. But she said, here, I can help people get funding. And she said, I already know 2 people that would be interested, and they're agents now. They might even be on this call. So she went to work right away. She watched the video. We talked about how to approach them. And I said, you just simply need to share your link and let the link do the work. And I'm here to help you with them if they have questions. But they're going to know pretty quickly if they're interested or not. So my approach with someone that's thinking about it is to watch the video, see how it strikes you, see if you have an interest. Just envision yourself sharing that link with others, and it doesn't get any more difficult than that. And you have plenty of support to help you.
Love it. By the way, do you have a preference on do you share the shorter, just partner video, or do you do the partner_video link? Which link are you using?
I share the shorter one, and I let them know that there's a longer presentation if they want, if that sparks their interest, that they should watch the second one. Yeah. And I know that My sponsor, Ellen, feels a little differently. She likes the longer video, but I just find, and the team, I think, finds many people that I've sponsored, they like using the shorter video to see if it sparks an interest. And if it does, we go to the next step.
Yeah, it's a matter of preference. That's why we have both. And, you know, my approach is, if I'm talking to them, I take them to the long video, but I tell them in advance, you're going to see an hour-long video pop up, but in the first 6 minutes, you'll know whether it's for you or not. And if I don't know them, if it's just cold market, or someone just texts me and says, hey, I want to hear your business, and I can't talk to them, then I send them the short one, because I can't disclaim that it's an hour-long video you're going to see pop up, or 50-minute video. And I don't want them to go, 50 minutes. But so yeah, it's a matter of preference. Take your pick, folks, on which one you want to use. But well, let's go to some questions. Well, let me just say this before we go to questions. Is there anything else that you had on your heart that you wanted to make sure you shared, that you want to share with all the agents out there who are maybe getting after it, or thinking about getting after it, or just about on their last leg? Anything you want to share to anyone out there before we go to some questions?
The thing that I've noticed in the group here is the willingness to help. And I've seen other agents like Eugene and Ellen just, you know, jump in and try to support people that are getting started. We were on Ellen's team Zoom the other night, and Eugene jumped in to help Patrick, who was kind of struggling getting his footing. And rather than just let him falter, you know, Eugene swept in, picked him up and said, hey, you can do this, and told him how and why he could do it. So that's what I've noticed. And I see on Facebook the other agents that are just always supporting everyone. So I think there's a tremendous amount of support here, and that's very impressive. I really like that.
Yeah, that's good. You know, we're going to go to some questions, but I just wanted to say something. You just sparked something in me. If anyone's struggling out there watching this, just please keep this in mind. We can't promise when you'll have results. We can't say you're going to get results in your first week or your first month. We can say that if you continually participate with the common sense approach of just informing business owners that we have capital for them for when they need it, and you participate at such a level that you can inform a lot of people, and the more you inform, the greater the odds are that you're going to have results, financial results. If you just keep it that common sense, the same thing with recruiting. If you can just inform people we've got a great business and keep it that common sense, then eventually your participation will create performance. What doesn't create performance is lack of participation. So just make sure you participate, do what Mike's saying, do what others are saying, and just keep the head going forward, step after step after step. And the faster you can take those steps, that means the more people you can participate with and just inform, the greater your odds are going to be at having success. But thank you for that, Michael. Great information, great stuff. We've got the first person with their hand up.
Hey, David, can I speak real quick?
I was just going to say, I saw Wade Cordell is here, corporate officer Wade Cordell. Wade, what do you want to share with our dear friend Michael Dew?
Well, I normally don't stay on these calls this long, but I wanted to because it was Michael Dew's hour. But I got to tell you, Mike, you're a gentleman, you're a professional, and that goes an awful long way with our staff because of the fact, I mean, we serve everybody, but it's such a pleasure to serve you. And I can, you know, you talked about that 25,000. Within minutes from the time I contacted you and said, here's an issue we're having, you got that issue handled, you got what I needed in my possession, and within less than 30 minutes, I had him funded. So I really do appreciate it. And I know that we got some of our staff on here, but I just wanted to say, and I've said this to you, David, many times, man, I just wish it was this simple to work with everybody in the company that doesn't get too upset about things that really, maybe sometimes we do drop the ball, not often, but when we do, you always understand. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. And that's goes with everyone on the team. Does anyone else on the corporate team want to say something about Michael before we go to our first question or comment?
I think he's a class act.
Thanks, Sharon.
I'd have to second that. And I know that you're doing the interview, so I'm not sure if you're able to read through the comments, but I mean, just everyone, it's a unanimous thing. Everyone just loves you. And we've got a few, I want to be Mike Do when I grow up comments.
Oh, wow.
So we just appreciate having you on the team. And you're just so well spoken. This was just so nice to watch.
Well,
Definitely.
Thank you so much. I think I'm learning more from the rest of the team than I'm teaching them. So I'm learning from everybody that I come in contact with. But thank you very much, everyone.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that, Mike. That's why people love you. You're humble and yet you're leading. You're a humble leader. Real humble, real humility, not just false. So thank you for that. Well, let's go to Patricia Clausen, who is a agent of the month herself in the past. Patricia, you've got your hand up. You got a comment or question for Michael? You can go ahead and unmute yourself, PK.
Okay, got it. First and foremost, I wanted to say Mike Do is just so humble. Just a real professional. I really wanted to congratulate you.
Thank you.
I mean, it's just really cool watching your interview, and you actually already answered my question. Because I'm a former commercial banker that only took the money from trucking companies because I knew I was never going to give them a loan. But I really wanted their big checking account deposit. And so I was going to ask you, how do you go in to a trucking company that, you've always declined and, but you love taking their deposits. And I think the simplicity, the way you answered it about just still going back to the meet, greet, and inform really helped a lot. And I think just maybe myself describing that, hey, I know I've declined you in the past, but now I have a way of helping you for the future. So I wanted to thank you for that, for sharing your personal story of owning a trucking company.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We were very successful for a number of years, and it just began declining, and business capital was the biggest problem that I had. And trucking is a niche I'm now focusing on, and there's been a couple of trucking fundings, but it's a big world of trucking out there. So anyone that's looking for a niche market, that's a good one. They need capital.
Okay. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Joseph Livingood, you're next, buddy. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hey, God bless you, Mike. I enjoyed your testimonial.
Thank
I just
you.
want to ask you, I'm actually been focusing on trucking industry all week. Believe it or not, it's kind of a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
The issue I'm having when I'm calling, I'm not really sure because I'm not a trucking person. I've never been a trucking person. And I just seen that was one of the niches that we reach out to. And thank God you've been there. So maybe you can answer this question. What are some of the key words that I can mention? Like on the phone, I'm speaking to like that secondary gatekeeper, for example. Who do I need to speak with? Is it accounts receivable or when it comes to that?
Yeah, if they're big enough to have a receivables department, the person that handles the receivables, you could use the term receivable financing. That's receivable. I don't know if David would agree with that or not, and to say that's what we're doing, but what they need is turnover of capital. So
turnover capital.
Exactly. They need capital turnover because they have daily expenses, and they need to turn their capital over faster than.
And one more question for you is only the corporate can do that? Because yesterday I was speaking to some people in North Carolina and they told me, oh, our headquarters over in Texas, you have to call them. I mean, I don't know what to do with that. I'm like, okay, well, just give me their number. I mean,
in that scenario, that's probably what you'd have to do. If you're talking to a truck owner or a driver, and if they're leased to a larger company, they're not going to handle they're not going to probably qualify in our system because they're probably not going to be an individual business with an EIN, and they're being paid by their corporate, the company
Okay.
they're working for. So if they refer you there, that's where you're going to have to go.
And that kind of leads me to the next question. I've seen some in the comments there that a lot of people is going to be reaching out for trucking now. I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna have competitors. That's awesome though. I don't look at it as competitors. We're partners. So I'm going to ask some questions for them as well to help them out as well. When we go to calling people, do we need to speak to truck drivers that actually own their own trucks or that work for someone else? I mean, who do we really need to target? That's really the question.
Well, I think that you need to target small companies that are bigger than the individual truck owner. You may get some individual truck owners, and they might be an LLC, or they might have an EIN number, but they're probably paid by a larger concern, and so they're dependent on the company they work for to pay them. So it's the company they work for that's going to need the funding, I believe. Because one other thing I'll add to that, their company typically will give them an advance. So for their weekly expenses, fuel, food, maintenance on the road. So they're reliant on their company. So it's the company that's going to be reliant on someone to provide the funding and financing.
Okay, now this next question probably goes more for David when it comes to qualifications, but I have a stepbrother who's actually does trucking. He actually runs the East Coast, and he does delivery of goods and things like that. He got started maybe like 2 years ago, and he's not really ready for funding yet, but he probably will be soon. He's looking to really expand because right now he's not really expanding. He's only got one truck, and he's running with that. He's actually, I'm not sure who he works for. I think he kind of outsource things. I'm not really sure what he does exactly, but he'd probably be interested in that. And I need to know how to talk to him too, because he's my stepbrother. He might be my very first funding.
In that scenario, he's probably working for another company or hauling loads for another company, and they typically always provide their drivers with a cash advance when they pick up the load. So
I can probably call them, right?
Yeah, the individual isn't the market that we're looking for. It's the small to medium sized trucking company.
How about the suppliers?
Well, I certainly think so. I mean, suppliers are probably needing funding for their processes, whatever that may be, whether they're a manufacturer or a middleman buying and selling products and needing someone to haul them. So I would think so.
Awesome.
Very
Thank you
good.
so much, Mike. That's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Good stuff. And yeah, basically, Joseph, I would just summarize along with what Michael said. You want to focus on the business itself, not the employees or the contractors working in the business. They may give you a contact of who to call. And you never know if a truck driver, like Michael said, some of them are LLCs or C Corps on their own for liability, and they have an EIN number, but many aren't. So you can ask them a qualifying question: are they a standalone company or are they a contractor for someone else? Okay, we got Dawu out in New York. How you doing, Dawu?
I am doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great. You don't have your video, so we're not going to spotlight you, but you got a question or comment for Michael?
Yes, I was trying to turn my video. There we go. So I just want to say thank you to Mike. That was me who said, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. So I am excited that you said that you use different platforms, like you balance the plates, and when one of the plates decides that it's not balancing, you might focus on the other plate. I do that myself by focusing on face-to-face here in New York. As much as I want to make phone calls and focus on social media, I need to focus on where the strength lies. And right now, the strength lies in New York with all the businesses and the high tickets. And I have an opportunity that other people in other states don't have, where I can just go outside and there's 170, there's 167, 161st, and Tremont, and that's just one borough to just focus on, where I have that whole month. And then I can say, hey, go to Chicago and focus on this platform. So seeing that you do that and got some results and became the agent of the month helps me know that, hey, I'm on the right path. And that when I really took that exit sketch, I like to always do it, make that really, because I want to really shake it. I really shake the exit sketch, and showing that when I did shake it this time, your results is what I'm going to look like in the future. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I think face to face, when you walk in someone's door, you can call them on the phone and make a connection. But, with a big smile like you've got, and you walk in someone's door and you said, I've got something to help you. It's just the personal connection. You can't beat it.
A multi-millionaire taught me, and also in How to Win Friends and Influence People, that the cheapest way, I hope everybody's listening to this, the cheapest way to make $1 million is only one thing. Smile.
Love it, dude. Well done, buddy. Well done. All right. Let's go to Ricky Carter. Ricky, you want to share your question or comment for Michael?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes. Michael, thank you for your testimony. I've been out to, can you see this business card right here?
I can.
Yeah, I went to that guy right there, and he said he's struggling with customers. Well, his business is struggling with he's in service, but he needs I guess customers coming to him for our transmission. He needs customers coming in, so he's struggling with that. But I went by a shop, and it was just like a small shop right off of Rhode Island Avenue, and he's looking for more businesses come to his shop. And I'm not sure if you can call him, or I can call him and let him know. I have a team. I already let him know I have a team of experts to help him out with that. But I need to call him, give him my web address. I forgot to drop off a drop card. But I have been going out and going to these other businesses, that one there, and going out and getting other business cards too.
We don't want to share the private information on there, Ricky. Other business cards. But, do you have a question for Michael?
Yeah, Michael. Thank you for your information, and I've been very intrigued that you shared your information.
Thank you.
And I learned a lot that you learned a lot from all the information. Thank you for sharing.
Sure. I hope it helps.
Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate it.
Yes.
And by the way, great job, Ricky, talking to those businesses. And we didn't want to shut down your cards there, but you don't want to show their cards on the social for everyone else. You may end up getting multiple calls from other agents. But you're doing the right thing, reaching out to them, buddy. Great job. All right, Eugene Clapp. How you doing, my friend Eugene?
I'm doing okay. Can you hear me, David?
Loud and clear, buddy.
I'm sitting up here and I'm watching you, Mike. And one thing about me, I call a spade a spade. I don't try to sugarcoat anything. I don't try to be politically correct. But one thing I can say about you is, ever since I've seen you come on these meetings, and I've seen you in the meetings we have with Ellen, your professionalism and your demeanor is something to be admired.
Thank you.
I look at the trait. I don't have those traits. I'm not that humble person. I'm an in-your-face type of person. And some people say it's more of an intimidator, but I don't say that. I say it's more of a motivator. But what you're doing and what Eric is doing on your team and the rest of your team is fantastic. And I was very happy when I learned that you were going to be the agent of the month, because your leadership and your willingness to help everybody is second to none. And I salute you for what you're doing. And
Wow.
I too learned a lot by hearing your techniques today. So keep on doing what you're doing, baby. I wish you were.
Thank you. That's real. That really means a lot. I didn't know if I would say anything that helped anyone else. So I'm really happy.
Yes, you said a lot, man. And I salute you and congratulations on your success. And I hope everybody is kind of listening and taking some nuggets with what you're saying, and they're going to go ahead and apply them to their business to be more successful. That's all.
Yeah, thank you.
And by the way, I wanted to say, Eugene, you've been nominated as well, Agent of the Month. So I know you're happy to see Michael selected, and you've been on that list a couple times. So keep it up, my friend. You're a great leader, and we're so proud to have you part of the team. And I'm sure others aren't surprised to hear you've been nominated. So don't be surprised. You never know. Keep up the good work. And congratulations on that Amped Up, baby. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. We don't have any other questions at this point. So we probably got some people who have been holding out because they didn't want to jump up and steal the order. Is there anyone else who wants to say something to Michael Dew? This is a time, if you have a comment, and you want to come in and share something, this is the time. We're going to be ending this out and give him one last chance to share his heart. He's got something, but if you got, just use your virtual hand raise. We'll call on you, and you can share something with Michael Dew. Anyone out there? Morgan, maybe you can see I'm not in the right place. Is there anyone else with their hand up? Harlequin's got her hand up, the former agent of the month. Harlequin, why don't you share with us, Harlequin? What do you got?
Hey, I just want to congratulate Mike, my cross-line buddy. I think it's awesome that you've been awarded this recognition, and just thank you for sharing and for sharing with some of my team members, as you always do. So just wanted to say thank you. And David, I did see somebody in the chat who was asking how to raise their hand. So there is somebody in there. I can't remember his name,
Okay,
but I know. Okay. But thanks again for sharing, Michael.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, we've got a couple others who've got their hands up. Let's go to Stan's iPhone. Stan, is that Stan Dennison by any chance?
Hey, David, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, Mike, I just want to say thanks for kind of waking me up. You know, I've been in this industry and in this business with you for a long time, and I kind of went to sleep working in some other areas in the nutritional side, which I love, but you kind of woke me up today and got me back on track. And I've probably sat around and missed a little bit of money in commissions because I've been asleep, but I'm going to wake up because of you today, and I appreciate you, brother.
All right.
Love it. Many of you know Kelsey Britton. Stan is Kelsey's father, and he owned a network marketing company, nutrition company that he sold to Youngevity. So he's still helping to lead and is the ambassador for that product, the TMR shake. It's an amazing shake, and his wife is a naturopathic doctor. So they've been focused, obviously, in helping to support the shake that they merged into Youngevity, but he's got an affinity for what we're doing here. And Stan, it's good to hear your voice, buddy. And Wade told me you guys talked today. I'm glad you're getting after it, my friend. Here to help any way we can. All right, let's go to Daniel's iPad.
Yes, sir. I wrote David a letter this morning in a text, basically, and it wasn't supposed to be that long, but I'm very passionate about what you guys are doing, and I seen that displayed yesterday when I watched the videos. David, you're on fire, and that enthusiasm gets me excited. And to sit here and listen to Eric this morning and see how he's a consummate professional about what he does, and that you can talk about him all day long, but then when people that he leads stand up and say that, it's a big compliment to him, and I'm glad to be part of this and look forward to much success.
Thank you.
Love it, Daniel. Welcome. And I've not seen that long text yet, so I'll get to it as soon as I can and reply to you. But glad to have you part of the team. And I agree with you. You know, everybody who talks about Michael has positive things to say. So thank you so much for your comment there, Daniel. And welcome to the family. All right, we go to next on the list is Orlando Darden Jr. How you doing, Orlando?
David, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear, buddy.
Fantastic. One time I tried to be on and you could barely hear me at all. So I wanted to make sure I was loud and clear here. First off, Mike, I have to say congratulations on Agent of the Month. I've been associated with this company, this great company, I can say 3 weeks. And just listening to your story, listening to the stories of others, not only inspires me, but really lets me know what's possible. you've heard this many times, but it's very true. You're a true professional. You represent not only the company well, but the industry well. And we all take notes from that. And I just want to congratulate you and thank you. Lots of nuggets that you delivered here today that I can certainly impart. I have a 25-year experience in financial services as an investment advisor and also in commercial lending. And David, I'll say to you and to everyone that I've been in a couple of other companies that will charge you lots of money just to be able to be on a platform to offer commercial mortgages or lending to business owners. To have something of this nature, I'm still pinching myself. This is amazing that this is free with a tremendous upside, just as how unique this business and opportunity is. I'm very passionate. I've been a business owner. I've been a corporate guy for many years, but also I've been a business owner for many years too. And I'm very passionate about uniquely helping business owners. And I love what you have here with the Bank Breezy product and other things. And I just say this is a great culture you're building, a great company, and I'm very glad to be a part of it and better serve the business community there. So thank you both. This has been great. More to happen.
Thank you.
Wow, kind words, buddy. Thanks for all that. You're very well spoken.
Thank
and
you.
Your experience. Thanks for all the kind words about Michael and DAC. We're proud to have you. I see you one day, maybe your future agent of the month yourself, buddy. Rock
Looking
on.
forward to it.
Serving clients. Great job, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Darren. Darren, it doesn't have a last name shown, so if you could please unmute. You're unmuted. You don't have video, so we're not going to feature you, but what have you got for Michael?
Congratulations, Mike, for being agent of the month. I have a problem, and I reached out to Harlequin, and she asked me to scour our Facebook page on this particular issue. I make websites, and I have a client that sells cigars. And our payment processing aspect I want to give him, because we tested it with PayPal, and he got a text on his phone that cigar tobacco products, they can't process those because of their terms of conditions. So Harlequin said, reach out and find this person in our group that knows about the payment processing. I hope it's you. And
this is Darren. I can help you out here. His name is Jacob Imhoff. Jacob Imhoff. So do a search on our Facebook group for Jacob Imhoff. He is our point of contact for payment processing. That's who you want to reach out to.
How do you spell Imhoff?
IMHOFF.
HOFF. Okay, thank you.
And you can always, if you can't find it, feel free to email support@davidallencapital.com and they'll get you in touch with Jacob Imhoff.
Jacob Imhoff.
But he is in the Facebook group for these reasons, so that you can tag him on questions right there in the Facebook page.
For the payment processing.
You got it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. He works with our payment processing partner. Thank you, Darren. All right, let's go to Nick DeHame and then Ellen Wynn. Ellen, I'm having you last on purpose. But Nick DeHame, our leader here, fearless leader. What do you got for us, Nick?
There we go. Can you hear me, David?
Loud and clear, buddy.
All right. I'll be quick. Just wow. Congratulations, Mike. I really did enjoy your story. I said I'm going to be short and just right to the point. Congratulations. I really did enjoy it. I enjoy every agent of the month. I love to see the experience of everyone, their background and their story. And your story is just very inspirational, great example. And I learned a lot and just wanted to give you well-deserved congratulations. And you can tell you're a pro. You're a pro, Mike. And
I have a lot to live up to.
Of course. And that's it. Just wanted to say congrats and keep up the great work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it, buddy. All right. Well, then that'll take us to our final commenter in question before Mike brings us home. And that'll be our fearless leader, two-time Agent of the Month winner. Her name's been mentioned a couple times today by Michael. That's our great leader, Ellen Wynn. What do you got, Ellen?
Hey, David. Thank you. I appreciate those kind words. Michael,
I am so, so proud of you, your accomplishments, and most importantly, I'm super proud to be in business with you. Today's interview was just very professional. I learned a lot, and I learn something daily from you. You know, you said you learn from the team. I really do. I learn from you on a daily basis. You're such a skilled marketer. You're such a skilled professional, and you really have a lot to bring to this team. But one thing that I think your interview today should really drive home to all of our agents is when you and the professional that you are is attracted to David Allen Capital, and we've heard it from others like Orlando and their background and PK and her background, man, it really, really exemplifies what DAC is all about, right? And the quality of people that we can attract. So when the day that you found me on your search for who you were going to partner with when you uncovered David Allen Capital, that was my lucky day. And I feel very blessed that you did that. You're a pleasure to work with every single day. And I know that you and I together are going to help build this dynasty with David Allen Capital and just help millions and millions of people along the way that are looking for extra income opportunities. And we're together going to be able to help millions and millions of business owners get the working capital that they need, save the money on unnecessary expenses, and who knows whatever else David is going to add to our funnel along the way. It's just going to be an exciting ride. And I'm glad that you chose David Allen Capital. And I'm super proud that you're on my team. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Great job today.
Proud to have you as my sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
On home with that then, folks. Let's end it with this. Michael, I'm going to let you have the last words, but before we do, I got to say one more thing. I just want to share Michael's eye-opening experience of about a month ago when he was on. You could tell it had just happened when he was speaking live on that Zoom. And he said, I just realized something, the bigness of this pay plan. I know all of us go through different levels of belief, and something happens and we just expand it a little further. I think Michael helped you expand a little further today. I know it has for me. It continues to, you always look for reinforcement of what you believe. Even someone who's a believer in a faith, of a religion or a faith, there's things that happen that restore that and continue to reinforce that. And the same thing happens in our business, guys. There's nothing permanent about anything. And when you're digging in and learning and paying attention to others, there's signs and there's signals to, yeah, this feels right. That feeling I have in my gut is real. And there's a reason for it to be real. And Michael's just got a gift at sharing that and conveying believability, passion, and integrity. And I've felt that from the first time I met him. And every one of you, I'm sure, have received that as well today. So, Michael, I just want to say thank you for encouraging everyone just in the way you are. Obviously, the words you share are echoing beliefs that many people have about our business. We share them in a way that just they make an impact. And so just thank you for being that impact player, for saying yes to being our agent, for saying yes to DAC first, saying yes to getting after it, saying yes to your clients and to your team, to recruiting and adding that work and responsibility to your life. This does take work, and you've invited that into your life, and I'm thankful for you. And I thank you for saying yes to be an agent of the month and doing this interview discussion today. So with that, congrats, thank you. And you bring us home, whatever you want to say to end us out, and wish us all on our way to a great weekend.
Well, just quickly, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and there have been many good agents of the month, and there's many more to come. And I realize that. And in preparing for this, I just was making mental notes, and I didn't know if I would say anything that made a difference to anyone else. But the comments that have come back, I'm so honored what people have had to say that I said something that made a difference. And if I did, I hope so, because you all make a difference to me. I'm even motivated hearing what everyone else is saying. And I look forward to the day that this COVID stuff is behind us and we can all meet at an event. I'm sure that'll happen at some point in the future. And This is my home. I'm happy to be here. And every time I hear David Rutt speak, I've never seen a more motivated person. And I know we have the right leader going forward. So thank you. And thank you, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I've asked everyone to unmute themselves. If everybody could please go ahead and unmute themselves and just give Michael a big round of applause.
Hey, Mike.
Congratulations,
Mike.
Brad.
Congratulations. God bless you, Mike.
Way to go, Michael. Way to go.
Great
Thank you so much.
training.
Good job, Mike.
Oh, Mike.
Way to
Love it,
go.
love it, love it.
Sure.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mike.
Awesome, awesome.